Hi, and welcome back to Pigeon Keeping 101. And bear in mind, almost everything I'm talking about is based on racing pigeons or homing pigeons. So if you're talking about things like the fantails, some of this will apply, but not all of it. I'm going to talk about one of the least fun, least sexy parts of this sport, and that's record keeping. It's ugly. Unless you live and die by Excel spreadsheets, this is going to be the least fun part. And if you're a beginner, and remember this is Pigeon 101, so it's aimed at those of us who are beginners, then you are going to be finding a lot of times where you didn't know you needed to keep track of something until you failed to keep track of it. You're going to need to keep track of which birds are mating with which birds are paired up. You're going to need to keep track of the offspring and when they were hatched. Preferably, you're also keeping track of when the eggs were laid, but I've never had any luck at that. But when they hatched, you're going to need to be on a very tight schedule for when you can band them, because if you wait too long, you will be, like I was, crying to the more experienced people, asking how you get a band on this pigeon that is a little bit too big. And you are going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out if you're sending them to any of the one loft races, they need to go at an age where they're still young enough to rehome, that is, to get the idea that the one loft race is their new home so they can race there, and old enough that they can eat by themselves and generally manage because, obviously the one loft race does not have their parents there to help feed them. And that means very often is keeping a very close eye on when the birds can go to the one loft races. Pardon me while I open this up. So, for example, right here, America's International Challenge, it basically has accept birds from February 15th to May 1st, which means that I need my birds to be at the right age to go there. I also need enough money to send to them. In this case, they're zero up front. Yes, I make notes of that because I'm not rich. But I need to have my birds sent to them before May 1st, and they have to be the right age. Apple Cup accepts to May 3rd. Meanwhile, Peach Classic is accepting until June 1st, which means that if a bird is a little too young, I could go to Peach Classic. Master Breeders Marathon, I've already sent my bird there, but they're accepting up till June 1st. Louisiana Perch accepting till April. You need to keep track of that. If you want to go into one of these one loft races, you need to make sure that the bird you want to send is the right age. And a lot of times, if you are, like me, new to pigeons, or like me, a little bit face blind with people, you may find that you cannot tell your pigeons apart without actually looking at their bands, unless they are very distinctively marked. And since a lot of your pigeons, unless you have very, very few pigeons, are not going to be distinctively marked, they're going to be blue bars, the standard pretty gray with the dark bands on the wing. And when you've got a whole loft full of blue bar pigeons, they all look alike. And you're going to be trying to figure out which one of those is the one you want to send to this one loft race, and which one of those is the sire or the dam to that one because you basically lost track of them, or you didn't realize they had paired up differently, or you're running an open loft. And if you want to keep track of your pedigrees and your birds and who's going to what one loft, and some one loft races will require a pedigree, not most of them, but some of them do, then you have a lot of record keeping to do. And take it from my mistakes. If you get started badly, which I did, because I thought I could easily keep track of all of this stuff, and I didn't write it down in time, and Then I got extra birds, and then I didn't log them into the system until later, which means I didn't find out that one of the birds was not the band number that the person who gave it to me thought it was. We've got all this stuff going on, and trying to fix it after the fact is so much more work. So I suggest you think very carefully about, you're going to need to keep track of the ages and the parents of all of these little birds. And once your pairs start laying 2 eggs at a time, it adds up to a lot of little birds very fast. And we'll discuss more about one-loft races and about young birds and young bird lofts and so on in the next one. But I want to just get to you, if you're getting started in this, make sure you're prepared to keep track of a lot more information, because you can miss a deadline. You can easily miss the chance to band a bird easily, which has to be done when they're just a few days, really. And you want to keep track of, say, who's going to be ready to send to that race, or who's having problems. And you're going to need a lot of computer time or a lot of paper. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me. Obviously, if you can subscribe and like and do all those things, it helps us reach more people. And in any case, thank you from Dragon's Dovecote. I'm Kirsten, and happy pigeons.